Thank you for coming to the September 27th council meeting. It is 7:35 p.m. Mrs. Arcisi, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Barker.
Here.
Mr. Bilkey.
Here.
Ms. Brandt.
Here.
Ms. Tully. Here. And Mr. Ventura.
Here.
Now I ask Tom O'Brien, American Legion Post 801 chaplain, to lead us in prayer, and then following, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
With bowed heads, let us pray. Almighty God, Father of all mankind and Judge over nations, we pray Thee to guide our work in this city council meeting. We pray for those who serve the people and guard the public welfare, those civil servants who work at City Hall and throughout our community, that by that blessing they may be enabled to discharge their duties honestly and well. We pray for our leaders, that by that help they may provide the leadership our community has empowered them with. Finally, O God of mercy, we ask Thy blessing and comfort for our neighbors who are suffering from mental or physical disability. Cheer them and bring them Thy blessing of health and happiness. Amen. And now please face the flag and join me in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. First thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from September 13th, 2018.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted by the clerk of council.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of minutes passes.
Make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the finance report dated August 31st, 2018. Thank you, JMA.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, first on the agenda, we have the public comments. If you can come to the microphone. Wow, you knew it was your time, huh? You have up to 5 minutes, of which Chief Golden will keep that time for you.
I'm sorry, what?
He's my timekeeper.
That's fine. Cameron was at 1377 Driftwood. The trash that was brought up today. I understand the snow, it's safety, even gutters are safety. But I kind of get leery about 15 grand maybe to help people pay for their trash bill when it's important bill. That's all. I mean, I understand it's not gonna, if it fails, all three are canceled, right?
Just this is what it's budgeted for. Doesn't mean we're going to spend it.
No, I mean, I know, but if it passes, you know, but the trash thing has always bothered me since moving to this city. That's all. The other two are, you know, safety.
I think what the intent with that is that, you know, we have some seniors in the community that, you know, don't have a lot of money. It's very difficult for them to survive, and we're trying to do what we can to help them, and that's the intent with that. And if things were flourishing and, you know, the budget was good and the levy passed, it would be a non-issue, and it's really, in the grand scheme, nominal. And I think that this council would support me in the thought that we want to help those people. Now, if the levy fails, we're gonna pull all three, because we're got to batten down the hatches to make sure that we're maintaining our safety forces, and that's what we're gonna do.
And when is the deadline? When is the rec center locker room's gonna be finished?
Well, the tentative date, when I began, we were talking about December. We've had some variables come through which are gonna possibly delay that, but the goal is by the end of December. Whether or not that happens, it's hard to say right now.
For one, the women's and the men's, and you still gotta do the other construction?
No, I want the complete project done by the end of December. Now, that's being very optimistic.
With one contractor and maybe two service people?
No contractor. We have, there's one individual contractor, yeah. He's helping with the brickwork, but yeah, we're utilizing 2 service workers to help with that too.
And sometimes they're pulled for Veterans Memorial Park.
Yes, well, that and other things.
I know, I understand. All right, I'm just voicing my opinion. No big deal.
I respect it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Mr. Vellucci.
Thank you. I'm Vince Vellucci, 950 Brook Point Drive. I'd just like to say a few words in support of issue 20. I've come to learn a lot more about it since I've gotten to know all of you and gotten to know many of the city officials. And I absolutely hate paying taxes, just like anybody else. But this is one tax that I really do not mind paying, and people should not mind paying, because you will see tangible benefits from it every single day in our community. And you have to look no further than the road levy that passed in 2017. They're finishing up Crow right now, actually, the paving program, and you mentioned the rec center and the locker rooms and so forth. I believe that's being paid for by that levy as well. And it's things that we see, that we use every single day, and it's a 0.25% tax increase. I believe $125 per $50,000 of taxable income. Frankly, I think it's well worth it for the benefit that we're going to get, and that's not to mention all the aging equipment that we have from our fire department and our police department, and I think our service department certainly as well. I was reading a little bit more about that today in terms of the service department's big time need as well. So I think everybody knows about the ladder truck. That's been well documented. I think the police department, myself as a prosecutor, I think about that because I think about the cases that I have to prosecute with police officers that have 21st century equipment versus those that don't, particularly body cams. Those make our jobs as prosecutors a lot easier in terms of the way we charge cases and the way we're able to prosecute cases, to be able to actually see what actually happened in an interaction with police is invaluable to us as prosecutors in cases. I think there's some other equipment that needs replaced as well. And the SRO as well, the school resource officer, is something that I worked with many of them when I was doing juvenile prosecutions, and I can tell you how important they were in the schools working with us, and I think it's very important that position be allowed to continue. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vince.
Okay, moving on to pending or new legislation. First one up is ordinance number 82.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 82, 2018 for its third reading by title only, please.
Second.
An ordinance creating section 161.23 of the codified ordinances prohibiting nepotism in Macedonia hiring practices.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend subsection A to add the language, employment resulting from competitive examination pursuant to the city's service regulations is exempt from this restriction.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any discussion?
Hearing none, I'd like to move that we pass and post according to law ordinance number 82, 2018, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 82 passes. Moving on to ordinance number 83.
Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 83, 2018 for its third reading by title only.
Second.
An ordinance creating section 712 of the City of Macedonia's codified ordinances relative to small cell facilities and wireless support structures.
What's your pleasure?
I move to pass and post ordinance number 83, 2018 and the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed? Ordinance number 83 passes. Mr. Goodetti, would you like to elaborate on this one a little bit?
Sure. So this is the small cell infrastructure regulations the city is implementing. We already have them administratively implemented, and they're the result of litigation that was initiated after the General Assembly passed some new laws concerning small cells. The update that I provided to council, and we discussed briefly at work session, is that the Federal Communications Commission has enacted their own federal regulations as of yesterday through a 4-0 vote. Those regulations will be implemented 30 days after they're filed with the Federal Register. So we may likely have to go back and amend this code again after we review those regulations.
Thank you. All right, ordinance number 96.
Mr. Mayor, I move to offer ordinance number 96, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, I guess I'm here, huh? An ordinance amending ordinance number 97, 2017, relative to the annual appropriations for additional expenditures of the city of Macedonia for the period ending January 1, 2018 to December 31st, 2018.
Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, do you want to elaborate on the lighting at the baseball field? You kind of had a handle on it. Is this the ordinance, is this moving money, or is this actually going to put those plans into motion?
This is appropriating the money. Rhonda could probably put it in a little more perspective, but I can tell you that we have a NOPEC grant that's gonna fund most of it. I think we're gonna pull, what was the total out from the,
Around 50,000.
$50,000 is gonna come from the golf course, and then the remainder was gonna be a grant we got from NOPEC. So we're gonna light one field. Lighting's very expensive, but as we talked about in the work session, we feel that within 3 years, we'll recoup even that money that we got from the golf course, which, by the way, golf course money has to stay in the park. So we're utilizing those funds in the park to generate more funds with the fields, because we can operate the fields at later hours with lights, and that's gonna come at a premium. So we have high hopes for the parks in the future.
I guess my question is are we going to see more legislation on this as it gets closer to actually being a project that we're approving?
Not until 2019.
But it will be, this is just appropriating the money. We'll see, so we'll be able to vote on it.
This
Okay.
is only for phase one of
Thank you.
2. Mhm.
Okay, with that said, anybody else want to say anything?
Any other discussion? All right, what's your pleasure?
I move to offer ordinance number 96, 2018. I don't offer it anymore. I move to pass and post it, the same as law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 96 passes. Ordinance 97.
I move to offer ordinance number 97, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An emergency ordinance authorizing directing the mayor to enter into a contract for the purchase of a new HVA system for the Macedonia Family Recreation Center.
Any discussion?
This is just to pass the bidding that was done for the new addition on the rec center. It had to go through the bid process as it was over $50,000. We need to get it in emergency because the bid process just finished. We needed to get the HVAC installed so the roof can go on, and that's where we're at. So that's why we had to push it through as an emergency. And the cost was all built into what we've already budgeted for the project, so we're good to go.
So just to clarify, this normally would have had to go through the bid process, but it did
Oh.
not because of the timing, because we're up against the end of the construction season.
Right.
That's why it's being presented as an emergency.
Thank you, sir.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 97 passes.
Did we?
I don't
we
think
haven't-
I don't
no, we
think
got
so.
to
Oh.
offer it to pass.
I didn't.
Oh, I'm
Sir.
sorry. I jumped ahead myself.
Well, in that case, I offer to pass and post ordinance number 97, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
We'll try this again. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 97 passes. Moving on to ordinance number 98.
I move to present ordinance number 98, 2018 for its first reading only, by title only.
No,
We're gonna do all three.
1, 2, 3, so we can get the bids.
I'm sorry, I still have it marked for first reading. I apologize.
That's okay.
Okay, to redo this, I move to offer ordinance 98, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance appropriating funds and authorize the mayor to enter into an agreement with Valley View Property Management for a senior gutter cleaning program for the fall 2018 season.
Any discussion?
I mean, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're going to pass this tonight most likely, and it might not be a program that we can afford when it comes down to it. So this is ordinance that get the bidding process going and to get people signed up for it. But hopefully we can afford it come next year or later this year. Who is hitting the microphone?
We don't have another raccoon, do we?
Yeah,
Somebody kicking the tire?
that's all the discussion I wanted to say on it.
Any other discussion?
What's going on?
Ordinance number 98, 2018, and post the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 98 passes. Ordinance 99.
I'd like to offer ordinance 99-2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance providing for a senior snow removal program for the 2018-2019 winter season.
Any discussion on this one?
I think it's, all three of these for the seniors have the same issue. We're going out to lock in the bids, get ready for the season. The money is right now there, but going to be dependent for our going forward with the levy. The anticipated amount already set aside for the senior snow removal is $15,000. Hopefully it doesn't snow, because it could be more, depending on how many pushes need to be done.
Anyone else? What's your pleasure?
I move we pass and post ordinance 99-2018 according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance 99 passes. Ordinance number 100.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer ordinance number 100, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
An ordinance providing for and authorizing a refuse collection subsidy for senior citizens and making appropriation for that subsidy.
Any discussion?
Again, same situation. It also has $15,000, correct me if I'm wrong, round up for set aside. Please check with the mayor's office. You have to use the Akron, Ohio MSA. There are restrictions on this. I know probably 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we didn't really have a lot of restrictions on it, and then found, you know, due to costs, you're trying to help those people most in need. So application. If
Any-
nothing else, I ask that we pass and post according to law or 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ordinance number 100 passes. Resolution number 101.
Mayor, I would like to offer resolution number 101, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A resolution authorizing the disposition of certain municipal property by the Service Department of the City of Macedonia in accordance with City of Macedonia Codified Ordinance Section 12105 and the Ohio Revised Code Section 72115.
So I'll kick off the discussion on this one. Basically, there's a lot of equipment that is outdated or dilapidated. We've been utilizing for parts, and now we're going to dispose of them because it's time to move on from them. So unless there's any other questions?
Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 101, 2018 and post the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 101 passes. Resolution 102.
Move to offer resolution 102, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to Summit County Fiscal Office.
Any discussion?
This is just a house cleaning that we do every year to make sure that we're able to get our money from Summit County. And so, if there's anything else, I'd like to move to pass and post resolution number 102, 2018 to the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Resolution 102 passes. Resolution 103.
I move to offer resolution 103, 2018 for its first, second, and third reading by title only.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
authorizing the advance of local taxes by Summit County Fiscal Office to the City of Macedonia for the 2018 tax year payable in 2019.
Rhonda, can you elaborate a little bit on this, please?
Certainly. The tax rates are for the 2019 tax budget that we had to submit to Summit County by July, and then they're having us certify the rates by November, so that way they can put those in place for next year.
Any other discussion?
Like you said in the work session, get an advance like an ATM. We have to get it from the county. So with that said, I move to pass and post Resolution 103 to the same according to law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 103 passes. Any other motions or legislative action? Hearing none, any correspondence from the clerk?
I have one, Your Honor. Dear Miss Manley, you employ great front desk staff at your recreation center. I spoke with Susan, and she was very helpful with a smile and new member information. I have enjoyed my visits to the lap hole. Sincerely, Alvin Wheeler.
Thank you. It's always nice to hear,
Congratulations on your improvement. Sorry.
nice to hear good things anywhere in the city, so that's good stuff. Moving on to the mayor's report. So recently, this week, I attended a mayor's association meeting. In that meeting, they talk about a lot of different individual communities. We found some resources that can drive new businesses to come here, some things that I'm going to be looking into. Obviously, new business in, I'm going to try and get. We talked about retail dying and how the tech companies are on the rise. They had a lot of statistics and a lot of good information as to why that's a good thing to move into your community. I don't know that it necessarily fits into our community because the focus was somewhat on Akron, because Akron has a program right now that they're working on and have expended some pretty significant dollars on getting to that point to figure out that the tech industry is something that could be good for Ohio, and obviously I'll be looking into that as well. I also gained a better understanding of asset gaps and opportunities. They again alluded to the tech industry and how the retail sector is slowly dying and what you kind of want to have moving forward. I also gave a State of the Communities address recently. Obviously, the big crux of what I spoke about was our upcoming levy. The upcoming levy affects our safety forces. It's not a threat. It's not a scare tactic. It's a reality of where we are. If we look at the equipment that we're needed right now, I know I'm being redundant, but a ladder truck, which is between $1 and $1.3 million. Ambulances, every time we need an ambulance, we come to the table and we say, $250,000, how are we going to come up with that now? With this, we can start to plan for those things. Police cars, police equipment. A big piece for the police, and this is something I'm going to focus in now because of the events of late. Staff, adding staff to our police department. I think it's important. I think it's something that the chief and I have talked about. It's something that we have communicated with this levy effort. With those, we're talking about body cams. Our prosecutor that's here tonight spoke to how valuable those are. If there's ever any question about anything that occurs with a police officer, that is a great tool for us to utilize to say, here's what happened. You can't deny when you see something live. There's no way to look around that. 800 radio system. A lot of our neighbors are already utilizing it, and I think, are we not one of several that only are on the old radio system? Is that correct, Captain?
Yes.
So 800 radio systems, $400,000. This levy could generate around $1.2 million. Right off the rip, we could spend $400,000 just on radios. And the big piece I haven't even talked about, we are letting the property tax die. We knew we were taking a risk with this, but we are trying to allude to the community of the brevity, or not the brevity, the gravity of the situation where we'll lose 3 firefighters. This levy will support to keep those 3 firefighters on and keep us whole. Another thing that we were looking at was police car cameras. Something that's very vital. Some of our cameras are malfunctioning. We're not getting good video. We're not getting good sound. Again, it's very easy to prosecute something when you have video with sound. If it's not operating correctly, it puts us in a compromising position that I don't want to put our police in at any point ever. We've had some recent events in town. The chief's going to address those, but I can tell you that I am very keen to what's happening in our community. The crime that's occurred of late is very serious to me. It's very serious to our chief. We are going to be looking at some different things. I made some different moves today to try and alleviate some of those problems in our retail sector. I don't want to get into too many details, but the one note that I want to say, and I have to applaud our police department for this piece of it, every perpetrator was caught of every event that we've had. So at the end of the day, I don't ever want crime, and I'm not going to minimize the things that have occurred, but we've gotten all the people that have committed the crimes in our community. So that's not a bad thing ever. Okay, moving on to committee reports.
I'd like to announce that we're going to have a finance meeting on October 11th at 6 o'clock at the caucus room. And it'll be right before the next council meeting.
Our next Parks and Rec committee meeting is Wednesday the 3rd at 6 o'clock. That's all I have to say about that.
Is that a Forrest Gump?
Yep. October 3rd. First Monday of every month.
Any other committee reports? All right, moving on to department reports. First is Director Notavich.
Thank you, Mayor. Rec Center roof structure is scheduled to be installed starting tomorrow. This will be the steel girders and supports, and the decking should be completed by Monday. Following that, we will put the remaining sandstone caps on top of the parapet, put the final covering on the roof, and with the passage of tonight with the HVAC system, be able to mount the system on the roof to be totally enclosed, and then we can begin our inside work before any bad weather hits us. We've begun our next phase of Veterans Memorial Park. We have almost cut all of the future planned walkways out and have placed stone in them. We are prepping one section for a World War I monument to be displayed for the anniversary in November. And then now is a good time also to check your mailboxes and paper chutes for securement, because as the winter season approaches, you know, these can come apart real easy. Remember, we are not responsible for fixing your mailboxes if the snow knocks them down, only if we hit them directly with our plows, which can and does happen. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Engineering Department.
Thank you, Mayor. As I'm sure most of you have seen, we've had a busy week of paving asphalt here lately. We expect another busy week of paving asphalt coming up. The Crow Berkshire subdivision, the Indian streets, and the Bird streets all currently being paved as we speak. That's all I have, Mayor and Council.
I have a question. Go ahead, Mr. Barker.
You first, please.
Is Shepherd Hills Boulevard, now that the water work has been done, is that slated for this time period or not?
Yes, it is. We've asked, the water main work is substantially complete at this point. We've relayed that information to our paving contractor and asked him to schedule it as soon as possible.
Thank you.
First off, the roads, they look amazing. Now, you know, nobody really loves taxes, but when this levy went through, we can actually see this. I do like that. The question I do have, just who's responsible? The quiet zone on Twinsburg Road, are they going to fill in that last 10, 15? Is that a railroad issue?
You mean the small portion of asphalt
Yeah,
that
on
we
the
did
other
not
side of the
repave?
tracks, right.
Yeah, we really can't touch that. That's the railroad
right of way?
property, right of
Okay.
way, yes. So we have to stop at one side, pick up on the other.
Have they given you a time frame? I know that they're a strange entity, but
Yeah, the railroad is, they're gonna pave it or not pave it whenever
when they get to it.
feel like it,
Gotcha.
unfortunately.
Mr. Barker?
I wish I could force them to do it.
Mr. Barker, we were notified by the railroad that those tracks are going to
Yeah.
be closed for 2 weeks, starting October 22nd.
Did you say 2 weeks?
2 weeks, sir.
Do they know that I travel those
It's a
days?
long drive to jail, I understand.
And we are at their beck and call. If they do it when they want, we have no control.
That's a
At
real
least they
problem.
let you know ahead this time.
This time,
That's a
Yeah,
real
this
problem
time.
for squad calls and stuff.
We have Station 3 coming.
Captain, you stole my thunder because I was going to add that later, but I did get that email this week, and I'm a little perplexed as to how you just drop that on us and say, oh, we're going to close it for 2 weeks, and that's been a problem. We know our issues with Ledge Road and the bridge, and, you know, the railroad sometimes thinks they're higher than God, and unfortunately, we've tried to fight and to no avail. So I'm very unhappy about it. We're going to be blasting this on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, website. So we're gonna make sure that we're communicating as much as possible to let people know that's gonna be closed. It is not the city doing it, but we're at their beckoning call.
I'm probably gonna eat crow saying this, but the last time they did say 2 weeks and they got done within a week, and it was back open. So, but this week is probably gonna be 3 weeks, right? So, I didn't say anything, I says, hopefully, they won't take the whole time. They'll get it done that first day, and it'll be open quicker than they say.
The other surprise is they gave us a date. I've been involved where it's taken a year plus. We've been involved with the bridges, so they've given us a date. We'll just hold them to it.
Just to reiterate, that date is October 22nd for 2 weeks.
Thank Diane Augustine for that, because I know she worked hard with them to get some communication better between two entities.
Anything else, Mr. Gelati?
That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Director Manley.
Thank you. Just a reminder to everyone that the Wizard of Oz Festival is taking place in Longwood Park this weekend. Starting tomorrow, which is September 29th, there's going to be a free movie in the park. They'll be showing The Wizard of Oz. So we invite the community to bring your lawn chairs and your blankets out. That movie is on the baseball fields, and that will begin at dusk. That festival continues Saturday and Sunday. They have a full schedule of events on Facebook and on their website. We've shared it on the Rec Center's Facebook page as well. So you can look up, they have a 5K, a car show, dog costume contests, entertainment, all kinds of things. So we invite you to stop out there if you're looking for something to do this weekend. As part of that, the Rec Center is participating. We are offering a dive-in movie on Saturday night, so we will be showing Return to Oz in our pool. Doors will open at 7 and the movie will start at 7:30 for that. We have set our annual facility closing dates for maintenance this year, which will be October 22nd through the 28th. We will reopen on Monday the 29th, and we have a long list of projects and maintenance scheduled for this year, which I will share more of that list closer to. But we will be shut down for those dates this year. And that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Hall.
Thank you, Mayor. So the only thing I have is just to let everybody know that I'm working on the 2019 budget, diligently trying to get that completed and up to speed for our meeting on the 11th. For Rita, we received $680,663.56. That is up from last year, $56,195.07. That's only a 9% increase. Our income tax increase should have been about 12.5%. So we're a little bit down, up from last year, but down as to where we should be.
Weren't we collecting that same amount though last year at this time?
Last year
The
we,
levy went in effect on July 31st, I thought.
that's true. Yes, you're right. In September it was. But it still should be an increase from over last year because it really takes some time to get into effect. So we're up so far this year, $1,035,408.06. We should be expecting about 1.3 by the end of the year. That's all I have.
Thank you. Captain Ripley.
Mayor, I have no report.
Chief Golden.
Thank you, Mayor. As most of you are aware, we've had several serious crimes occur in Macedonia recently. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt in any of these incidents, and the perpetrators have all been arrested. I want to assure the residents that Macedonia is still a very safe community to live in. The police department will continue to be vigilant in our crime prevention practices. But I think it's important to keep things in perspective. All cities have crime. These stand out because it's your hometown. In the 25 years the Macedonia Commons has been open, we've had just a few incidents where people have been robbed in the parking lot, and that's over 25 years. I would like people to guess how many stolen cars we've had in the Commons in the past 5 years. We've had one. The Macedonia Walmart has had significantly less inventory shrinkage, which is theft, compared to the Aurora Bainbridge store and the Streetsboro store. I bet that surprises a lot of people. I just want to thank the residents for their support and encourage them to call me if they have any questions. Thank you.
So I want to elaborate a little bit on the Walmart issue. The previous mayors have been dealing with Walmart and the issues going on there. We've put some things in place councilmatically when I was on this council to help alleviate those problems as well. So those are issues that have gotten better, and I think it's a pretty alarming thing to find out that, you know, Aurora has more theft than we do and problems, and Streetsboro has more problems than we do. Because I have people that say, well, I'm driving to Streetsboro, it's safer down there. Just prove that that's false. So we're doing a lot with Walmart. I'm not gonna let up on Walmart. They're a good business, but we're having a lot of problems in an area, and we're very, very aware of that. That's why our officers are there so often. But what I want to ask you, Chief, is can you elaborate on the incident that occurred at Walmart?
I can elaborate on that and several other ones, actually. The incident at Walmart, we had a gentleman that parked way in the back over by Kohl's at 10 o'clock at night. Clearly there were spaces a lot closer to the door, and he was smoking crack. And then he got carjacked. So after it was reported to us about 35, 40 minutes later, within 8 minutes, we had the subjects in custody and his car back. So he parked way off to the side, didn't park anywhere near the front where it's well lit, and he was doing drugs. Now that doesn't make it right, obviously, but there's always a little more to the story. The bank robbery, we had a bank robbery. We typically have a bank robbery every year or so. We have a lot of banks in Macedonia, if you don't know. A couple years back, Northfield had a bank robbery, Sagamore had a bank robbery. Everybody gets bank robberies. Several days after our bank robbery, the same subject, let's say, hit Mayfield. That same day, a different group hit Independence. Bank robberies happen. Within several days after that, the subject was in custody. We had a piece of the puzzle. Mayfield has a piece of the puzzle. You put it all together, he's been caught. Excuse me, the Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts came out as a robbery. It was not a robbery. It was an ex-employee who bought a Dunkin' Donuts smock online. She put it on, went in. She knew when it was busy. She knew the certain time to do it. She went behind the counter and emptied one of the drawers. It is not a robbery by the definition of robbery. I think you'll agree. The Longwood Park incident. That seems to be on a lot of people's mind because there were shots fired at Longwood Park and this and that. See if I can, it's a long story, but basically the gist was the victim, well, let's say one of the subjects was trying to buy a weapon in Cleveland, and the victim set him up to do that in Cleveland, and he was robbed in Cleveland. So one of the subjects blamed the victim for being robbed in Cleveland, so the female set him up to be robbed back at Longwood Park. It was not a drug deal. They chose Longwood Park because the subjects were dropped off by St. Timothy's. They walked down the tree line so they could be hidden. She kept him occupied, and he was pulled out and robbed. They jumped in the car and left. He then jumped in his car and went after them, chasing them into Twinsburg, where the shots were fired. He then hit their car, causing their car to overturn. So there were no shots actually fired in Macedonia. It was a kind of a complex story. Twinsburg will have charges. We have charges. Like I said, it was not a drug deal. That's a rare occurrence, but that might explain a little bit more. I don't know if you, anything else?
I just want to also point out that Longwood Park has cameras.
Yes.
So if you're someone watching this and you think you're going to come to our park and you're going to get away with things, we see you. We have cameras, and we're not going to tolerate any nonsense in that park. We want that park to be safe. It's a nice place for families, not for you to do the activities that were occurring on that one instance. So just know that we're safe in that respect. Also, I want to point out that at Walmart, our officers do go into that store, they do park the car out front. We're helping to watch these problems too. That's why they have the shrinkage that the chief spoke of. This is not something that we just started. We're very aware of the things occurring in that area. We're also talking to Walmart, as I alluded to earlier. We're going to bring them back in again, and we're going to have a conversation. But know that we have a safe community. This is not an unsafe place to live. We've had a little rash of some bad things happening, but we have a vigilant chief and staff, so just know that we are safe, and we will continue to be safe going forward. Any other questions, comments, or concerns, or
Thank you,
criticisms?
Chief, for the explanations. Appreciate it.
Director Goodetti.
So I'll just add to the chief's comment that, you know, he provided a 30,000-foot overview of some of the alleged facts of the incident, which that information is generally available to the public in the incident reports once those are ready, but those are just alleged facts at this point in time. I just want to be clear about that.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Any unfinished business? Any new business?
I just wanted to point out that since we're having the finance meeting before council on October 11th, there will be no hosted open office hours at that time, but we'll resume them again on October 25th at 6:30.
I also like to point out that trick or treat, I know I'm early on this, but we'll be on October 31st. There's been things in the past where rain was in the forecast or anything of that nature. No matter what, we are going to have trick or treat on October 31st between 6 and 8 p.m. That's not going to change. We keep that date for a reason, and that's
Because it's Halloween.
because it's Halloween. That's when you generally trick or treat.
I make a motion for adjournment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.